Hi, I'm Carter, 34, and 3 weeks ago my entire marriage detonated in front of 150 people, all because my wife didn't want me at her company Christmas party. Not because she was shy. Not because she gets social anxiety. But because her ex would be there. She told me it would be awkward. She didn't know that I was about to be announced as her company's new regional director, the man positioned directly above her department, and her ex. Yeah. Grab your popcorn. This one goes nuclear fast. Before the whole thing went up in flames, things between Anna and me had been weird. Subtle weird. The kind where you get this tight little feeling in your chest, but you try to ignore it because you've been married for 7 years and you're supposed to trust your spouse. It started 2 months before the party. Out of nowhere, she leveled up her wardrobe like she was heading for a photo shoot every morning. New dresses. New perfume. Hair done even on Mondays, which, in our house, used to be strictly bun and sweatpants territory. At first, I thought she just wanted to feel confident at work. Then I noticed she'd get defensive any time I complimented her. "You look amazing today," I'd say. "It's just work," she'd snap. "Not everyone gets to wear pajama pants for their job." Right. Her jab at my remote consulting gig, which paid 70% of our mortgage, but apparently still wasn't professional enough for her standards. Then came the late-night phone thing. Scrolling at dinner. Smiling at texts she wouldn't show me. Phone flipped face down the second I leaned in. "Work stuff," she'd say. Right. Work is hilarious at 10 p.m., I guess. Still, I trusted her. Like an idiot. Then one Tuesday, while I was making dinner, Anna walked in with that tone. The one where you know whatever's coming is going to ruin your night. "So, the office holiday party is Friday," she said, staring at the fridge instead of me. "Okay," I said. "I think maybe you should skip it this year." I paused. "Why?" "Scott's going to be there." Her ex. The guy she dated before we met. The name I'd heard maybe 5 times in 7 years of marriage. "And that matters, because?" "It might be awkward," she said. "I don't want to deal with drama. Just do this for me, okay?" She wouldn't meet my eye. Alarm bells were ringing quietly. Not loud enough to make me tear into it, but enough to make the back of my neck get warm. But I said yes. Because I trusted her. Because I'd never had a reason not to. What she didn't know, and what she never would have guessed, was that I had just accepted a massive job offer at her company. One that would put me directly above several departments. One that the CEO wanted to announce at the holiday party, as a surprise. She thought she'd kept me away from her ex. And instead, she set herself up for the most catastrophic cell phone I have ever witnessed. And trust me, that was just the appetizer of this disaster. Stop here. So Friday rolls around, and Anna is getting ready like she's auditioning for a perfume commercial. Long shower. Hair curled. Makeup done with surgical precision. She tried on 4 different dresses before settling on a tight black one I'd never seen before, the kind you don't wear to impress coworkers. "You look beautiful," I said from the doorway. She jumped like I'd caught her stealing something. "Thanks. Just want to look professional. Adrian's going to be there." Adrian. Her CEO. My new boss, though she didn't know that. She kissed me goodbye way too quickly and told me not to wait up. Her voice was nervous. Shaky. Like she was walking into something she shouldn't, and didn't want me anywhere near the fallout. The second she pulled out of the driveway, I went upstairs and got ready. Charcoal suit. Fresh shave. New job energy pulsing through my veins. At 8:15, the black car service arrived, courtesy of corporate. By 8:30, I was walking into the downtown hotel ballroom, where the party was already in full swing. Lights. Music. Servers weaving through the crowd with champagne. About 150 people. Adrian spotted me right away. "Carter! Over here!" He led me straight to the executive table near the front. And that's when I saw him. Scott. The ex. I didn't know it was him at first, just some polished-looking sales guy with a watch worth more than my car and the confident smirk of a man who mistakes arrogance for charm. Before I even sat down, Adrian started introductions. Carter, this is Scott Carson, our new VP of Sales. Just transferred back from Seattle. Scott stood, extended his hand. Strong handshake. Fake smile. Used car salesman energy. Glad to have you, man, he said. You're gonna love this place. Great culture. Lots of collaboration. That word, collaboration, is going to haunt him later. Trust me. I shook his hand, sat down, pretended nothing was weird. Then I scanned the room and found Anna at the bar, laughing with a group of coworkers. She looked relaxed. Comfortable. Like she belonged there. She had no idea I was 20 feet away. Then Scott's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. And smiled. A slow, smug smile I would have recognized even without seeing the name. He typed a reply and set his phone down. Adrian asked casually, Scott, your wife here tonight? Divorced, Scott said. But I'm working on something promising. He leaned back in his chair like he was settling in to brag. Reconnecting with an old flame. Someone I dated years ago. She's married now, but her husband works from home in sweatpants all day. Guy doesn't have much going for him. My grip tightened on my glass. I stared straight ahead. Neutral expression. Corporate poker face. Adrian laughed politely. Anyone I know? Scott lowered his voice, not low enough. Let's just say she's been really receptive. I think she's finally realizing she settled. I didn't need to look to know he was talking about Anna. I didn't need confirmation. The way he glanced toward the bar, toward her, told me everything. And still, I said nothing. Because the delicious part? The unbelievable, poetic part? Scott was bragging about trying to cheat with my wife. To the man who would be his boss's boss in 10 minutes. At 9 o'clock sharp, Adrian tapped his glass and grabbed the mic. The room quieted instantly. Before we return to celebrating, he said, I want to welcome someone very special. Our new Regional Director of Operations, overseeing supply chain, compliance, and sales operations across the entire region. He gestured toward me. Everyone meet Carter Price. I stood. Smiled. Nodded politely. Across the room, Anna looked up. And froze. Her drink slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. She didn't blink. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. She stared at me like she was watching a ghost crawl out of a grave. Scott stiffened beside me, eyes darting between us, finally connecting the dots. His face drained of color like someone yanked the plug on his confidence. My internal monologue. This is going to be fun. The applause faded. Adrian moved on to talking about quarterly goals. People clapped. Smiled. Raised glasses. Meanwhile, Anna stood frozen across the room like she just watched me crawl out of her phone's deleted messages folder. She didn't move until I stepped away from the stage. Then she vanished, poof, slipped out a side door like she was escaping a crime scene. Scott stood next to me, trying really hard to pretend he wasn't panicking. He smiled. He laughed at something Adrian said. He even took a sip of champagne. But his hand was shaking so hard the bubbles nearly vibrated out of the glass. I let him stew. Let him wonder. Let him replay every bragging comment he'd made in the last hour. He didn't know if I heard everything. He didn't know how much I knew. He didn't know what I'd do next. His brain was melting in real time. Beautiful. People started coming up to shake my hand, welcome me, congratulate me. I smiled. Said all the right corporate things. Meanwhile, I was scanning doorways. 20 minutes later, I found her. Anna was standing in the hallway outside the ballroom, one hand on the wall like she needed help staying upright. Makeup smudged. Dress slightly twisted. She looked like someone who'd just seen their future burst into flames. Carter, she whispered, voice trembling. I can explain. I kept my face calm. Dead calm. Corporate calm. I'm sure you can. It's not what you think. Oh? I said. Because what I think is that Scott's been bragging all night about reconnecting with an old flame. A married one. Whose husband works in sweatpants and doesn't deserve her. Ring any bells? She flinched like I'd slapped her. No, he's exaggerating. He's lying. We were just talking. That's it. How long? She blinked fast. What? Carter, nothing. How long? A beat. A tiny hesitation. That was the confession. 6 weeks, she whispered. Since he moved back. 6 weeks. Exactly the time she started dressing different. Acting different. Laughing at her phone. And you told me not to come tonight because... She squeezed her eyes shut. I didn't want things to be weird. Weird, I repeated. That's one word for it. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Carter, I swear, it didn't go anywhere. Nothing happened. She was lying. I knew it. She knew I knew it. You're going to go home, I said evenly. You're going to pack a bag. And you're going to stay somewhere else tonight. Her eyes went wide. Carter, what? You can't just kick me out. Watch me. This is our house. Anna, I said. I've paid the mortgage for 4 years while you spent your money on new dresses and mystery dinners. So yeah, it's my house. Now she was shaking. Carter, please don't do this. I just got caught up. He was giving me attention. I wasn't going to actually do anything. Right, I said. And that's why you lied to your husband about a work party. I walked past her toward the ballroom. Stopped beside her shoulder. Leaned just close enough so she heard every word. Enjoy the rest of your night. You wanted me gone. Now you'll get exactly what you asked for. I didn't look back. Not once. Inside the ballroom, Scott was gone, either hiding in a bathroom with a panic attack or sprinting into traffic. Either option worked for me. By the time the party ended and I headed home in the company car, Anna's car was already in the driveway. Lights on in the bedroom. Her suitcase half packed. Her face red from crying. She tried begging again. Crying. Offering explanations that contradicted each other. But I wasn't listening anymore. Before leaving, I sent one email, quiet, clean, professional. Subject: conflict of interest disclosure. To HR and corporate legal. Explained everything. Pulled myself out of any oversight of the sales department. Copied Adrian. Not to be noble. To protect myself. Because when people get desperate, they get dangerous. That night, I slept on my brother Logan's couch. Told him everything. And for the first time in weeks, my head felt clear. What I didn't know was just how much worse the truth was, or how fast Anna would go from guilty to destructive. Because the next morning, I opened a 312-page phone log from the carrier. And the real story began. I woke up around 7 a.m., on my brother Logan's couch, neck stiff, blanket half on the floor, and a sinking feeling in my stomach. Not heartbreak. Not sadness. Just that cold awareness that something big was still waiting for me. It arrived 5 minutes later. A notification from the phone company. Your requested detailed text records are ready for download. They'd rushed it because I had a business account. Lucky me. I opened the file. 312 pages. Every message Anna had sent or received for 2 months. Scott's number all over it. Logan came into the kitchen while I was reading. I didn't look up. I couldn't. I spent 4 hours at that table. Coffee went cold. Breakfast untouched. And it was worse. So much worse. The affair wasn't emotional. Wasn't just texting. Wasn't. Nothing happened. They'd slept together 3 times. Hotel rooms. Daytime meetups. While I was home making dinner, fixing the stupid dishwasher, trying to build a life with a woman who apparently wanted attention more than loyalty. First time. 4 weeks ago. Downtown hotel. 2 hours. Her text afterward. I forgot what it felt like to be wanted. Second time. 2 weeks ago. Longer. 3 hours this time. She told me she had a conference. Third time. 3 days before the party. While she was telling me she just didn't want things to feel awkward. They'd been planning more. Rooms booked. Excuses lined up. She was going to tell me she had a multi-day work seminar out of state. And the part that really kicked me in the chest? They talked about me. A lot. Anna. He's gotten lazy. I feel like I'm living with a roommate, not a husband. Scott. Guy sounds pathetic. You deserve better. Anna. He doesn't even take me out anymore. Not mentioned she'd asked for more space on weekends, so I started gaming again. Scott. Leave him. You know you want to. Anna. I'm thinking about it. 7 years. 7 years of building a life with someone who thought married was a suggestion. By noon, I had forwarded everything to a divorce attorney. She called me within 20 minutes. Her name was Janet. Voice calm. Practical. Professionally ruthless. Mr. Price, Pennsylvania allows fault-based divorce for adultery. Given the evidence, this will move quickly. If you want, we can file Monday. How fast is fast? We'll go for the house. Savings. Anything she abandoned when she left. And we're getting attorney fees from her. I didn't even hesitate. Do it. Sunday afternoon, Anna tried to show up at Logan's house. Sophie, his wife, answered the door. I stood in the hallway listening. Please, Anna cried. Just let me talk to him. No, Sophie said flatly. You cheated on him. Go away. It was a mistake. You made 3 of them in hotel rooms. Sophie snapped. Goodbye. Logan came in at the end and told Anna he would call the police if she didn't leave. She left. Monday morning, I walked into my new office for my first official day. Corner office. Windows overlooking downtown. Fresh business cards on my desk. It should have felt like a victory lap. It felt like cleaning up a crime scene. Adrian came in around 8. Got a minute? He asked. Sure. He closed the door and sat down. HR briefed me on what happened with Scott and your wife. Ah. That didn't take long. He continued. Scott's been placed on administrative leave while we investigate. We've already found misuse of company funds. Personal travel. Hotels. Thousands of dollars in questionable expenses. He's likely going to be terminated. I blinked. Scott was in a freefall. And he didn't even know how far the drop was. What about Anna? I asked. She's been transferred to the Western Territory, Adrian said. No overlap with your role. No risk of conflict of interest. Beautiful. Corporate chess at its finest. Meanwhile, Anna spent the next 2 days sending me messages I didn't open, voicemails I didn't listen to, and, can we talk? Emails I deleted. Her texts went from apologetic to pleading to angry to outright bizarre. Then her mother called. Wanted me to be reasonable. Right. By Wednesday, things hit a new level of chaos. Scott, now fired, showed up at the office drunk, screaming in the lobby that I'd ruined his life. He got arrested. Anna filed a harassment complaint against me with HR. HR dismissed it in 48 hours. She filed for temporary spousal support. Denied. Then she went nuclear. Accused me of stalking her. Filed for an emergency restraining order. Her evidence? Photoshopped screenshots. A picture of my car parked near her apartment, except my car's GPS log showed it was at work. Text she claimed came from me, traced to Scott's phone. Her lawyer tried to spin it as emotional distress. The judge was not amused. Emergency motion denied. Court warned her about perjury. Her credibility? Gone. By Friday, her attorney called mine. We'd like to negotiate a settlement. Translation. They were terrified. I told my attorney my terms. She gets her car and her personal belongings. I get the house, the savings, everything else. And she signs an affidavit admitting to the affair and the false claims, in writing for the court. She accepted. 4 months later, the divorce was final. Anna's career tanked. She lost her job. Her reputation in the industry was radioactive. Scott got sued by the company. His ex-wife modified custody. Every consequence Anna thought she could outrun hit her like a train. And then, last week, she showed up at my house. Skin pale. Eyes sunken. Crying so hard she couldn't speak at first. I lost my job, she whispered. I can't make rent. My car's about to be repossessed. I have nowhere to go. Carter, please. Let me stay in the guest room. Just for a little while. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I sent her $500. That'll cover a motel for a week and some food, I said. After that, you're on your own. She sobbed. Begged. Pleaded. I walked inside and closed the door. She made her choices. And now she gets to live with them. I thought things would calm down after the divorce was finalized. That Anna would disappear into whatever new life she'd built out of hotel rooms and bad choices. That I could breathe again. But people like Anna don't go quietly. They don't fade out. They cling to old lives like driftwood, especially when the new ones sink. 2 weeks after our divorce was finalized, HR emailed me. Greg, head of HR, wrote, Carter, we need to talk. Anna filed another complaint. Of course she did. I walked into Greg's office expecting the usual nonsense, vague accusations, indented messages, melodrama. But this time, Greg looked exhausted. Like a man dealing with a raccoon that keeps breaking into his kitchen no matter how many times he boards the windows shut. She's claiming retaliation now, he said. Retaliation? I repeated. Retaliation for what? Divorcing her? Greg pinched the bridge of his nose. She says you used your influence to get her demoted and then terminated. She didn't get demoted, I said. She got transferred to avoid conflict of interest. Corporate made that decision. Greg nodded. Yeah, we know. And she wasn't terminated. She missed quota 3 quarters in a row. I leaned back. So why are we talking about this? Because she's now claiming mental health discrimination. Of course. When all else fails, weaponize HR buzzwords. Greg continued. We're shutting it down. Paper trail proves everything. But I wanted to warn you. She's spiraling. He wasn't wrong. That weekend, Logan called me. You need to come pick up your ex-wife, he said. What? She's on my porch crying. Again. She looks like she walked through a thunderstorm with her eyes open for 2 days. By the time I got there, Anna was sitting on the steps, knees pulled to her chest, shaking. Carter, she whispered, please. I need help. I'm drowning. Everything about her looked different. Thinner. Paler. Like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. Like someone whose life had deflated and left nothing but air. What do you want, Anna? I asked quietly. Just a place to stay, she said. Just until I get back on my feet. I stared at her. At the person I once loved. At the person who tried to annihilate my career, my reputation, and my future because she couldn't handle the consequences of her own actions. You told Scott I was boring, I said. That I wasn't enough for you. That our marriage was over and you were looking for a way out. Her chin trembled. I know. I said awful things. I was stupid. I was insecure. I hated myself and I took it out on you. Please. You slept with him, I said. 3 times. And when you got caught, you tried to destroy me. Not apologize. Destroy me. Tears streamed down her face. Yes. I know. I was desperate. I was scared. I didn't want to lose my job. I made stupid decisions. You made deliberate decisions. I corrected. I gave you loyalty. You gave me lies. She broke. Collapsed into a full sob. Shoulders shaking. The whole thing. A part of me, the old part, the married part, felt a tiny tug. Sympathy. Familiarity. Ghost feelings. But that part was small now. Dust. A version of me that died the night her texts hit my inbox. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and transferred her $500. That's the last thing I will ever give you, I said. Food and a roof for a few days. After that, you are on your own. Her sobs got louder. Harsher. She covered her face with both hands. Carter, please, I don't have anyone else. You had me, I said. And you threw me away. Her breathing hitched. I didn't know what I had. You did, I said. You just thought you could replace it with something shinier. She shook her head violently. No, I didn't mean. You meant every word you wrote to him. Silence. Then I stepped back. Turned. Walked to my car. She didn't follow. Just sat there on the steps, a small shaking shape in the cold. As I got into the car, I felt nothing. Not joy. Not triumph. Not revenge. Just closure. Real, final closure. She made her choices. She picked her path. Now she gets to walk it without me holding her up. Because sometimes the hardest boundary is the one that feels easy to break. Not going back. Not opening the door again. Not letting your history rewrite your future. And I wasn't going back. Not for her. Not for anyone who treated me like a backup plan. After Anna left my brother's porch with that $500 and nothing else, I thought that was the end. The final page. The credits rolling. But endings aren't clean. Not the real ones. They drag a little. Echo. Hum in the background while your life starts stitching itself back together. For a few weeks, everything went quiet. No calls. No screaming voicemails. No HR complaints invented out of thin air. Just silence, the good kind. The kind that feels like oxygen after months of smoke. I focused on work. The regional director role fit me in a way I didn't expect. Busy. Structured. Surrounded by people who actually responded to emails and didn't lie about late client meetings. That smelled like perfume and hotel shampoo. Adrian called me into his office one Thursday afternoon. Shut the door. Sat down like he had gossip too good to hold. You're settling in well, he said. Thanks. He leaned forward. We're restructuring the East Coast leadership chain. I'll be recommending you for the VP track. You've got the mind for it, and frankly, you've handled a whole hurricane without letting it derail your work. I nodded. Professional. Calm. But inside? I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Pride. The healthy kind. Not the, I hope my spouse stops comparing me to her ex. Kind. I started going to the gym regularly. Not revenge workouts. Just movement. Breathing. Rediscovering my body after years of exhausting emotional labor. Logan dragged me to trivia nights. Sophie adopted me like a second brother. Friends I hadn't seen in years reached out, not to pry, but to invite dinners, hikes, game nights. It was the first time in ages I wasn't shrinking myself to make space for someone else's ego. Then, one evening, around 9:30, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. Not Anna. Not Scott. A coworker of hers. Someone I'd met briefly at the holiday party. Wanted you to know your ex is okay. She found a roommate and a new job, admin work part-time. Rough patch, but she's getting help. Don't feel obligated to respond. Just figured you'd want closure. I didn't reply. Not because I hated Anna. Not because she didn't matter. But because I wasn't going to reopen a book I'd already shelved. Still, something eased in my chest. A tension I didn't realize was still hiding there. A week after that, a different message came through. This time from an email address I didn't know. No text. No request. Just a document attached. A letter from Anna. Short. 5 sentences. No excuses. No pleas. Just, "You loved me better than I loved you. I know that now. I'm getting help. Thank you for everything you gave me. I will not contact you again." And she didn't. Not once. It surprised me. Not because I doubted her ability to stay away, but because there was finally something from her that sounded like truth instead of drama. I closed the file. Deleted it. And that was that. Life moved on. Months passed. Winter thawed. Spring arrived. On a random Friday night, after a long week at work, I found myself at a brewery with coworkers, the kind of hangout I used to say no to because Anna wanted me home. We played darts. Made fun of Karen from accounting, gently, she deserved it. Argued about movies. Laughed. At one point, someone asked, "So, Carter, you seeing anyone now?" And for the first time, the question didn't make me flinch. "Not yet," I said. "But I'm getting there." Later, as I drove home, window cracked open, cool evening air drifting through, I realized something. I didn't miss the marriage. Not even a little. I missed who I thought I was in it, loyal, steady, building something meaningful. But that version of me didn't die. He didn't disappear. He just needed the right place to grow. And I'd found it. A home that felt peaceful. A job that respected me. Family who had my back. Friends who actually wanted me around. And a future that no longer depended on someone else choosing me. I pulled into my driveway. Lights glowing softly through the windows. My house. My life. My pace. I locked the door behind me and felt that quiet, subtle fullness. The kind you don't notice until the storm is finally gone. I poured myself a drink. Sat on the couch. Leaned back. For the first time, maybe ever, I wasn't waiting for someone else to dictate whether I was enough. I already knew I was.